Leningrad, 1926. Future Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin is flanked by 4 high-ranking officials in his inner circle. By 1940, 3 of these men had incurred Stalin's disfavor and were executed. However, eliminating his enemies wasn't enough for Stalin. He was only fully satisfied when he had also erased them from history. Joseph Stalin ruled the Soviet Union from 1929 until his death in 1953. To gain and keep power, he literally rewrote history, many times just as it unfolded. He falsified photos, film, art, and other media to communicate his visions, destroy his enemies, and build an enduring cult of personality. Stalin's falsification techniques are still echoed today, as photoshopping, deepfakes, and fake news are increasingly used to communicate misinformation and distort the truth. After nearly 400 years of Tsarist rule, the monarchy's unpopular decision to enter World War I, combined with crippling food and fuel shortages, created unprecedented unrest. The Tsar was overthrown, and Russia exploded into the 1917 October Revolution, plunging the country into civil war. A number of parties fought for power, but Vladimir Lenin's Bolsheviks emerged victorious. Under the banner of forming a classless society, they formed the Soviet Union in 1922. Needing a right-hand man, Lenin appointed fellow Bolshevik Stalin as Secretary General. Stalin was a loyal revolutionary and a strong organizer. Stalin developed an avid taste for power and began to cultivate his own political support and allies. However, Lenin became disillusioned with Stalin's increasingly rude and cruel behavior, and wrote an official testament denouncing Stalin. But Lenin died in 1924, before the testament could be made public, and Stalin began his plan to take over. Stalin knew the power of an image. He knew that people didn't always believe what they heard or read, but they tended to believe what they saw. He wanted to communicate the message that he was the anointed successor of the deeply revered Lenin, so people would transfer their loyalty to him. Stalin actively encouraged the cult of Lenin worship that had sprung up upon Lenin's death, simply so he could inherit that mantle. In 1929, Stalin achieved his goal of leaving the Soviet Union, and was given status as Vozhd, or Great Leader, equal with Lenin. To maintain his power and cement his legacy, Stalin began publicly communicating a wildly exaggerated version of his own status. Using government artists, Stalin falsely portrayed that he had been close to and beloved by Lenin. Stalin suddenly appeared in photos and art with Lenin, despite not being there in real life. He commissioned films that falsely depicted the leaders as close, like family, so he could gain reflected glory from Lenin's memory. Staged films also showed him present at battles he was nowhere near, to make him seem like a brave and supportive military leader. Artists refined his pockmarked skin, made his hair look thick and lustrous, enlarged his short physique, and even added a faint glow to make him appear godlike. The 1930s began arguably the worst period in Soviet history, Stalin's Great Purge. Stalin's media falsification took a more sinister turn. He vowed not only to physically eradicate his enemies and political challengers, but to also erase their visual existence from history. Stalin's feared secret police began mass arrests, from top political rivals to people in his inner circle to average citizens randomly chosen to fill arrest quotas. Many faced show trials and were executed. Millions more disappeared into the gulags, or forced labor camps. Stalin also ordered them to be removed from all official photos. He communicated the message that anyone who fell afoul of him or the Communist Party would disappear even from memory.
It was like the plague spreading all over the country. A general plague of terror.
Которая охватила страну. Чума страха.
When a person was arrested or executed, images of them became illegal. Disgraced people needed to be removed from photos before the photos could be republished or archived. This photo of secret police chief Nikolai Yezhov was carefully retouched after Stalin had him shot in 1940. Ironically, Yezhov himself had helped lead the purges. Less subtly, these party officials, executed as enemies of the state, were literally defaced, blotted out of existence with heavy black ink. Stalin expended special effort on erasing his main rival, Leon Trotsky, whom he discredited and exiled in 1927, then assassinated in 1940. Stalin wiped Trotsky's photo records so effectively that decades later, few Trotsky images remained in Russia. Stalin's Great Purge was inflicting widespread terror on his people, but perversely, he also wanted their love. He continued to build his cult of personality by publicly assuming a false benevolent, caring persona, calling himself Papa Joe and father of the little children. A famous photo shows Stalin beaming while holding Gelia Markizova, the daughter of a Siberian party official.
And now there was an illustration to prove that Stalin loved children. And this portrait could be seen absolutely everywhere.
But the image it communicated was a lie. A year later, the self-named father of the little children had Gelia's own father falsely accused as a spy and executed. Stalin's visual media falsification helped him fool the world into believing the alternate reality he communicated. Many Soviets also revered and celebrated him even as his brutal regime killed almost 20 million fellow citizens.
We really believed that all this happened without his knowledge. We were firmly convinced that he was a saint, the most holy one, the only one who could possibly save us.
Stalin rewrote Soviet history when he made his victims disappear, not only their bodies, but also all proof of their existence. Unless photos were hidden or sent to the West, little record of their lives remains except a dark blot or a scribble on a page. Many average citizens no longer had a family pictorial history. To protect themselves from the secret police, people inked or cut out faces of the disgraced. Sometimes all that was left of a parent was a photo of their hand. Stalin also significantly impacted Soviet art history, as he insisted only the socialist realism style could be used to communicate his false reality. This showed the world the Soviet ideal of happy workers laboring for the good of the collective, when in fact millions died from forced collectivization. The Soviet Union maintained a positive international reputation, largely thanks to Stalin aggressively censoring all visual media. This concealed that forced labor was behind his industrial progress. He also made scripted films of model farms to falsely communicate that collectivization was a success, and to hide the horrific Ukraine famine. Stalin ensured there was no honest newsreel footage, only his fake narrative. After Stalin's death in 1953, his successor, Nikita Khrushchev, denounced Stalin and tried to undo the false visual history he had communicated. Khrushchev removed pictures, tore down statues, and even edited Stalin out of his own propaganda films. But Stalin's false narrative has regained strength. Polls show 70% of Russians now think favorably of Stalin for his industrial progress and war victories. Many younger Russians are unaware of the horrors he committed.
Наверное, ассоциация это с периодом войны, в первую очередь, Великой Отечественной. Был совсем другой Второй мировой, поэтому я скорее за позитивное.
The effectiveness and lasting impact of Stalin's false visual communications campaign shows how powerfully convincing an image can be. Today, people are increasingly bombarded by fake images and misinformation campaigns on the internet and social media, some echoing Stalin's own techniques. High-tech photoshopping and deep-fake videos can create and communicate a false but extremely believable version of events. Although tools like forensic image analysis and fact-checker sites can help detect fakes, people need to beware of manipulated media and seek a variety of original sources. This is a key step in holding world leaders more accountable for their actions. Learn from Stalin's falsified communications campaign. Don't believe your eyes.